Слава Україні!
Hello comrades, and welcome to the intro of the World War III series. This video is going to be introducing the different factions and leaders and followers of said factions. If you want the full list, this one will only be showing the active ones. If you want the full list and wish to join, you may do so in the Discord in the link below the video. Starting off with Rhodesia, we have Alexander Smith. After serving in the Bush War and seeing his father have to surrender the glorious land of Rhodesia, he decided one thing must be done: liberate Rhodesia. After his family fled to Britain, he went back with several veterans and expats. With support from South Africa, he liberated Rhodesia. However, though, the future is uncertain, as one wrong move could start the Bush War again, and even a war with foreign powers. One such man, John Stanford, was born a few years before Rhodesia's fall. He considers himself a true Rhodesian Afrikaner. Forced to flee his home at a young age, he vowed he would return. He went to officer school training to be Special Forces, passed his classes, and joined in the UK Special Forces. He worked his way up the ranks. Stationed in South Africa, he met with Alexander Smith. John agreed to help Alexander retake his home country. Using his years of training, helped start several international rebellions against the Zimbabwe government. With the aid of South Africa, and the overthrow was a success. Now he serves as one of Alexander's generals and chief of security of his home nation. The newly reformed country of Rhodesia is small and rather lightly equipped. However, though, with the success and the backing of South Africa, this nation is seen to be a formidable rising power. The small nation of Austria, led by Karl II von Habsburg, the recently elected and now reinstated Kaiser of Austria. He has long waited to re-establish his lost family legacy. He's led Austria through economic prosperity and wishes soon for Hungary as well. Will he rebuild the Austro-Hungarian Empire of 100 peoples, or will he just be another madman crushed by the ambitions of others? Austria in recent years has put its military through a dismantling and disbanding process. Seeing through many great world wars and through suffering many losses, it decides on hosting only a small national guard and security force for the nation, seeing as it believed itself not to be getting involved in any more wars. However, though, under the new Kaiser, that could very much be seeing a change we have yet to see. The nation of Belarusia. It is currently fighting for its independence against the Soviet government. It seeks, along with Ukraine and many other former Soviet republics, to remove the communist government and replace it with a monarchist nationalist one. The White Star Movement is what they are calling themselves, this union of rebel republics. Belarusia is led by Vladimir Kirillovich Romanov, aged 73, title Tsar of Russia, Grand Duke of Belarus. He was born in Finland after the Communist Revolution. His family had fled to Germany. After some time, his father proclaimed himself the Tsar of Rhodesia and moved to France, where he held his court. Vladimir studied at the University of London and worked at Blackstone Agricultural Equipment Factory. He spent all of World War II in France, refused to spur the Russian immigrants to fight against the Soviet Union. After the collapse of the Warsaw Pact and the beginning of the degrading of the Soviet Union, came to Belarus, where he met with the nationalists and monarchists that would help him reclaim the throne, which is currently mixed up in a mess that is the post-Soviet Belarus government fighting to get to power. The nation of Hungary. This nation is a fairly large nation that has suffered a great deal of fights, much more recently with the Soviets than any other nation. Fairly experienced and ready, war will not be much of a change or surprise to the daily life of the Hungarian. The nation of Sweden. This nation has sat out both world wars, and unlike its economy, its military remains untested. While growing and developing a great deal, is yet to be seen on how effective the changes made. This could be a severe hindrance for when war does come to Sweden's doorstep, a war that can't be avoided. The Soviet Union, led by Yanov Gennady Ivanovich. Under Gorbachev, he was vice president. He saw how incompetent Gorbachev was and that his motherland was falling apart. On August 19th, when Gorbachev was in his Yalta mansion, he created the GKCHP. With the support from high-ranking officials, KGB, military, the State Emergency Committee proclaimed that due to Gorbachev's illness, he could no longer be charge of the Soviet Union and proclaimed a state of emergency. On the night from 19th to the 20th of August, Soviet troops entered Moscow, Leningrad, and secured all government buildings. On the 22nd of August, the GKCHP dismissed Gorbachev as president and made Yanov new president of the USSR. Yanov promised to stabilize the USSR and restore the Warsaw Pact to its strength. The KGB, like under Andropov, started cracking down on any opposition. With the proclamations of the White Star Movement, Yanov has quite a bit on his plate. However, though he commands one of the strongest and largest militaries to have seen this earth, while not at full strength, it certainly is still a formidable force. The nation of West Germany, while economically stronger than its eastern neighbor, suffers from a lack of motivation in its armed forces for war, and its people's genuine unpopular support for the armed forces, viewing them as an American army clone. While the Bundeswehr could certainly stand to the east, it certainly doesn't seem to want to. However, though, the effectiveness of the new leadership could certainly change that. It all depends on how they handle this situation, before they can even contemplate the task of unification with the East, should that even be a reality. The nation of Israel. Looking at its history, you'd be well aware that this nation is not one to sit around with its thumb up its ass. The success of the Six-Day War has gained a pretty good reputation. The newly elected Solomon David Cohen Levin is one to continue this tradition. Knowing that the state of the world is only getting worse, he's readying his nation for whatever comes. The nation of India, led by Pratap Rathod. Pratap Rathod was an Indian army general and statesman who served from 1967 to 1973. During the Indo-Pak War of 71, he was chief of the army. He was responsible for planning and supervising the invasion of Pakistan. In Operation Steeplechase and successful Bangladesh Liberation War, he rose to power following the end of the war and still rules with an iron fist over the subcontinent. It's clear with the recent string of victories, the Indian army is high on morale, and with such a successful leader and strong-willed, it is clear that they are ready for whatever comes. The nation of Canada, something of a sleeping giant. It is a nation with a fairly decent-sized military, kept up rather well and ready. Its recently elected Prime Minister Brian Mulroney is to face his first challenge, the Quebec separatists, as well as a continuing encroaching Soviet push into the Arctic Circle. As to how he will deal with these threats, it is unknown, but the nation of Canada stands ready. The small nation of Finland. While it has suffered defeat in the world wars, its military has always proven a strong and capable one. Noticing the disintegration of the USSR, it realizes the opportunity of possibly regaining lost land. As to how confident and ready they really are is yet to be seen. The nation of Japan. A nation that has maintained a pacifist attitude since the days of World War II. However, though, these small self-defense forces are quickly growing, as the nation must acknowledge that it cannot sit out this time, as much as it may want to. Knowing that its ally, the United States, is suffering an insurgency and will not be of much help, they know that they must rely on themselves for this new war. The United Kingdom, while many may look at this as an ever-weakening and diminishing power, losing territory after territory, its king sees a possible chance at reversal with the ever-growing chaotic political climate and decline of other powers, such as the USSR. A possible restoration of lost territory may be possible, while maybe never bringing the nation back to its former glory, can certainly see an age of new one. United States of America. Much like the Soviet Union, it is seen as an unbreakable superpower. However, though, it is collapsing from within. The Confederacy has risen up once again, emboldened by the White Star movement against the communist government in East Europe. The people of the Confederacy wish to restore their borders and nation, and for the time being it seems to be doing so, as many have defected just as they had in the First Civil War. How the federal government and the president crush this uprising will be a unique opportunity to really show the might of the Union once again. The nation of Turkey, while suffering defeat and shrinking from a great Ottoman Empire, the Turkish people always remaining strong and loyal in support of their government. Their government, boosted by this strength of support, ever confident of an expanding Turkey and of a greater future ahead. The nation of Yugoslavia, a very odd mix of Eastern and Western mentalities, and a combination of the Islamic world. Many different republics, ethnic groups, and people reside within this nation, and somehow it holds together still. Under the leadership of Alexander II, the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia might not last. It may be seeing a great deal of change. Whether it's positive or negative change, we have only yet to see how this Alexander II does. The global Islamic Jihad movement, leader Hasser Adil, assuming control of the GIGM after the former leader's sudden demise, Hasser wishes to spread the control of the movement worldwide and seek to spread fear through the sons of Hasser. His insurgents will fight and die for Allah and for him, as long as he lives, while also improving the lives of his fellow revolutionaries as a rebel, an activist, mercenary, and ultimate criminal force. With the past of these people having to be constantly in conflict, it is very likely that they could see a rise to power. With the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the West failing to organize, these people could certainly be a force to be reckoned with.
Hello there, looking for a PMC, private mercenary company? Well, look no further, the Spartan Defense Corps. The Spartan Defense Corps has surplus stocks of armament to your choosing. Our mercenaries are trained in some of the best special forces tactics worldwide. We will fight for honor, is our saying, and we'll keep to it. So give us a call. You won't regret it.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that intro to all factions. I know I might have missed a few things, I may have incorrectly said some stuff, but overall I hope that anyone that watches this video is pulled in. Do you know there are plenty more nations to choose from? These are only the active ones controlled by players. The GIGM and Japan are both in here, but I didn't have their flags in, as they just joined of this morning. So do not worry, they will be in there. The DDR is in a unique state right now. You'll see in the next coming of videos as to why they cannot be controlled and why they won't be represented in this little clip right here. But obviously you'll see, and you guys can always just join the Discord. Even if you don't really want to RP or anything, you just want to see it all happen, more than happy to have you here. I hope this series will be an enjoyable and fun one. That's about it. Have a good morning, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you soon.